And in this segment, we're joined by Kurt Christensen, the head coach at CMA. And man, you got a good win last night with Knox, if I'm reading my sheet right here. And, some of the coaches I've
hmm
talked to around the area, they talk about them. John Adonli in particular was like, you look at them and you think, we ought to be okay. And then they're pesky. They don't go away.
Yeah, they are. There's a couple of teams in the area actually like that have won some games late. Bremen's another one that has sort of just not gone away and has come back late in some games. So yeah, they're a pretty good team, and I think our escape that night was fortunate. We had opportunities earlier than the ninth, and we just didn't come through with any timely hitting. We got some traffic on the bases and had opportunities, multiple opportunities late in the game, and just couldn't come through. And so I was pleased that in the ninth we were able to get it done, but we had plenty of chances, that's for sure.
You're off to a pretty good start, though. I mean, given the start and stop nature of the weather with the way what it's doing to this season, I mean, do you feel comfortable about what you've been able to accomplish here early?
Yeah, I think we feel like we're in a pretty good place. The weather's been a challenge, and so just kind of getting any rhythm has been tough. Our schedule's been kind of start and stop, hard to predict. We've lost some games to cancellations because of weather and just the jumble of the schedule. So trying to play 3 to 4 games a week and kind of get in a rhythm has been hard. I think it's both tough for sort of set up your pitching and kind of get some experience under your belt and spread the innings around in a way that makes sense. It's also difficult with at the plate to get any timing. But we've managed it, I think, okay. I feel pretty good about where we are. We're a young group, and so in a lot of ways, some inconsistency was to be expected. And the fact that we've played pretty well through that kind of up and down, and sort of some bats are hot, and we put together 4 or 5 good at bats, and then we struggle for a couple of at bats. Some of that's to be expected, but I think in general, where we are here, about halfway through, I've been pretty pleased.
You mentioned pitching, and I got to believe that's probably the hardest problem coaches are having because you got to pitch innings in a game to real batters to stay sharp, but how many innings is too many and how many innings is not enough? I mean, when you're playing that many games in a week, it's hard to judge how you should be spacing these guys out.
It's hard to judge. Yeah, it is. It's a real challenge, and then your sort of best laid plans, right? Like
Yeah.
you kind of think, oh well, this guy can get us 3, and then we'll get a couple more, and then you go out and you have a really tough inning, or you can't find the zone, and you got to adjust. Right now, we're trying to kind of figure out how our body's responding, and so I've got a plan, to maybe come back and throw somebody a few days later. But will they be ready, and do they think that they're ready, but their body's not quite there, and maybe their stuff's not quite as sharp, or maybe just doesn't quite have their full stuff, and so how will they respond after 2 or 3 days rest is also kind of a question mark, and you kind of have to feel your way through that.
Given that, though, I mean, it looks like you got 3 guys at least that are giving you some really good innings and a couple of young guys.
Yeah, I think there's probably 4 arms, and then one guy that's sort of always penciled in relief when we need him. But the 4 guys, 2 of them are really young. Yeah, I mean, we've got 2 seniors in Cheney and Grunberg that both have potential to give you good innings when they get out there, and then 2 young guys in Harris and Oliver Overmeyer who've been pretty effective too. So those are the guys that are eating up the innings, and I've been really happy with how young we are, with kind of learning as we go and kind of figuring out. Figuring things out, right? Like they clearly are pretty good players, but learning how to get some soft contact and make their way through 3 and 4 innings when they get out there is something you got to learn, and they've been really competitive, which has been great.
I'm going to bring this up just to get your opinion on it because in all the games I've seen, and a lot of the coaches I've talked to over the course of the last couple of weeks, um, it, pitchers seem to be overall. Everybody's pitchers, every one of them, seem to really be struggling to throw strikes. Every game I've seen, every pitcher that's thrown threw more balls than strikes in the game. Pitch counts are getting elevated. I mean, do you think that's
Yeah.
a function of the weather, or what do you think might be causing that?
It's hard to say. I don't know. I think part of it could be the weather. Part of it might be that we've got more players trying to go out and do something that's really difficult without maybe the background and the training that they need. I don't know how many kids are growing up, pitching in games in Little League and travel ball, and sort of developing an ability to sort of throw strikes consistently. And I don't know if it's as easy to blame like the training. They're just chasing velocity and trying to sort of post on social media about their latest numbers.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a little bit of that contributes to, if we're chasing the wrong goal, right? If I'm chasing a higher and higher velocity number at the expense of, say, developing a feel or the ability to sort of control the baseball a little bit, I think there's an element of that, even if it's not like directly, guys in Marshall County doing this. It's sort of culturally part of what things are like now, and so I think that probably contributes. And it is early. I would like to think that the guys that are pitching, later in the year and then certainly in the summertime are built up a little bit better. But yeah, it's been a challenge. We battle it, I think, every year here. We talk and put a major premium on trying to throw strikes and eliminate some walks and scatter the hits a little bit. And it's easier said than done. I know kids are working at it, but it's tough to get in the zone for sure.
Well, let me ask you a question too. You don't need to give away any trade secrets, but what are you teaching your hitters? I mean, every year you got guys that just they hit the ball. You're in 347 as a team. Those are ridiculous numbers.
Well, part of that, I mean, I don't know that there's any secret, right? I think some of it is we've been blessed with some good hitters the last few years. I think this year, if there is a secret, back to sort of throwing strikes, I think that we've done a good job this year of like not chasing out of the zone. And I mean, I know it sounds simple, but when you make good swing decisions, and you're sort of putting the ball in play on strikes and not chasing and taking a base on balls, it can really help your batting average. It can help you get some base runners and help you score some runs. We've done a pretty good job of not chasing out of the zone, and I think that's a huge part of being able to sort of create some offense.
How do you feel about where you're at right now? I mean, you probably at this point got a good feel for your guys. Are you where you need to be at this point in the season?
I think at this point I'm pretty pleased. We're not where we need to be competitive later in the year. So I think I'm looking for probably a little bit more growth from the bottom half of the order. Just being able to, when you get a pitch to handle, being able to hit to all fields, I think is going to be something that we have to continue to make strides on. I think the other thing that's kind of always on my mind is when you're talking about, like, say, winning a sectional, can we go out and score runs off of a number one? I think is kind of a question mark for us. It's one thing to try and win a game 10-8 when both teams are giving up some hits and you're hitting against someone's 3 or 4.
Right.
It's a whole nother to sort of beat Marion's one or St. Joe's one. When New Prairie's got it going and they're scoring runs and they got their ace on the mound. Winning that sectional game isn't easy. And so what can we do between now and May to give ourselves a chance to compete against a number one on the mound is sort of where my mind goes to what do we need to do. If I'm pleased with where we are right now, what do we need to do between now and then in order to sort of give ourselves a chance in that environment?
Let's talk about the team you're playing today. I baseball coaches don't have a chance to do the kind of scouting that other sports do. You're too busy playing, but I'm sure you've looked at some stats and you know some of these guys from having played them before. I mean, what do you see when you look at Plymouth?
Well, I mean, there's a good example of a team that's got probably a little more depth than we do. I would imagine that, up and down their lineup card, there's guys that can produce. And so we're going to have to be able to keep them off balance a little bit in order to try and keep them honest and try and get some soft contact and get some easy outs that way, because I think they'll challenge us on that side. And then, I see a team that's going to be pretty dangerous. They play a tough schedule, and that sort of conference is a grind. Every single conference game, they're seeing someone pretty good on the mound, and they've got a battle. And so you kind of just assume that, even if they're, below 500 or whatever in terms of as a team record, that they've been tested and they want to win. And this is an opportunity for them to sort of get on the right side of the scoreboard after, playing a tough week of conference games. So, I'm pretty aware of that, and we'll have to see what kind of arms, Ryan has left, but we're going to have to be able to score some runs, I think, to keep up.
I was going to say, what do you want to see out of your guys today in response to them?
Well, I really hope we can, hit the ball around a little bit. A lot of it will depend on what we get on the mound and what they get on the mound. But if we can handle their fastballs early in the count and then not chase if they're out of the zone, take our walks and move the baseball around a little bit, then I would be pretty happy on that side. I think on the mound for us, it's going to be changing speeds and trying to get them to roll over a few ground balls or some soft pop-ups, get them out front a little bit, slow and slower, right?
Yeah.
And that hopefully we can scatter their hits and keep them away from a big inning and maybe try and win a tight game that way.
Coach, I want to thank you for taking the time as always, and I guess we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Yeah, you bet. Appreciate it. Thank you.
That is Kirk Christensen, head coach at Culver Academy, and we'll be right back. And Luke Kresge joins me, the Tony the Boss Ross Athlete of the Week here. And I needed to get you on to. Am I right? You are just a freshman, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
We got to put this in perspective. This guy went out at was it Black Squirrel?
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes out, shoots a 38 in his very first high school golf match in the rain. Man, you're a medalist. I mean, that's how did that feel?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of it. It was a very cold, wet day. Going out there, I wasn't expecting to shoot. I guess anywhere near 38. I was kind of hoping for somewhere, I guess, in low 40s. Uh-huh. So when I went out and shot a 38, it was a good feeling.
Talk about before the match, though. I mean, you're in your first varsity match. I mean, what was going through your mind? What did you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice having kids on my team and a coach to kind of welcome me. And my school's really small. We have 4 kids on my team. But it was going out there, and the 2 kids that we were matched up against, because it was me and my teammate Adam paired up with 2 kids from the other school, and they were both seniors. So I was kind of a little nervous on the first tee, but my nerves kind of went down as the round went on.
Yeah, they talk about that. Even football players, they're kind of nervous until they get that first hit, and then everything goes away. So I imagine that was the same. You just got into it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Were you worried when you saw the weather? I mean, you had to know it was going to be one of those days.
Yeah. Even I went out and played today, and it was absolutely terrible. I mean, it was probably 40, 50 degrees, and it's raining down. So, honestly, looking back on that, it wasn't too bad. But, I mean, I've played in worse conditions, but, yeah, it was pretty bad.
I was going to say, did you get your guys matching today?
Yeah, we did. It didn't start raining until about 4th or 5th hole, and it was an interesting day. It was really cold, and I was just trying to stay warm.
How do you talk about dealing with that too? I mean, obviously you've dealt with it pretty well. It's been kind of like that all year long, and you're shooting some really, I'm assuming, good scores that you feel they are too.
Yeah, I feel like I've been playing pretty well. I definitely need to get out and practice more. I want to improve throughout the season, especially I've got some bigger matches coming up, and then I have sectionals in June. So I still need to be working, but I've been pretty happy so far.
I'm guessing you're not getting a lot of time on the course with the weather the way it is.
Honestly, it I get a fair amount of time at the
Oh,
course. Even when the weather isn't great, I still go out. I just try to get as much time in as I can, and then I have in my garage I have like a net that I hit into,
mhm.
so I do get a fair amount of practice regardless of the weather. But I could definitely be getting more.
Tell us a little bit about that too. I mean, how do you train during the year? How much do you like to play during the week?
Yeah, I mean I love playing. I'm out if I can. I'm out every day. And my coach, my not from school, my swing trainer. He has a practice facility, so I try to get in there every so often, or he'll have me out for a playing lesson. But if I'm not out on the course on a day, I'm in my garage. I'm in my garage practicing, or I'm out with my swing coach.
When did you start playing?
First time I picked up a club, I was 3 years old, but I didn't start. I didn't start competitive until what maybe 4 years ago, 3, 4 years ago.
So, what about golf attracted you?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I've always liked golf. My dad got me into it, and like I said, I picked up a club when I was 3. So kind of growing with the sport definitely helps. It's not something you just pick
Right.
up. Um, so yeah, I guess I'm not sure, but just sticking with it, and I guess developing my talent kind of led me towards golf and led me to continue playing.
You said you really didn't start competitively until about 4 years ago, but I'm assuming you even played a lot before that, didn't you?
Yeah, I definitely did. Me and my dad would go out. Even some days, I know we would go out to like local municipal course, even at like 6:30 a.m., just so that we can try to get on before anybody else and get a quick round in for the before the day started.
Let's talk about your family a little bit. What's your dad's name?
My dad's name's
Okay,
Alvin,
and your mom's name?
Rebecca.
You got any brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have 2 brothers, 2 sisters.
Do they golf too?
No, none of them golf. One of my sisters works at Blackthorn though,
Oh,
which
okay.
is a golf course.
What's her name?
Her name's Morgan.
And you said you had another sister. What's her name?
Yeah, her name's Lauren.
Is she older or younger? Or both of them older or
Yeah,
younger?
all of my siblings are older.
Okay.
Lauren is 26. She just turned 26.
And none of them golf. So it's just something you and dad picked up, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, that's got to be really cool to go out and play with your dad a lot like that. I mean, it has to be a good bonding thing.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I get a lot of quality time. And even if he's not out there on a day, he'll just drop me off, or my mom will if if he has work or something. But
Did he help you when you were younger?
oh yeah, yeah. I've had a few coaches, but before I had any of them, my dad would kind of teach me the ropes, I guess.
Does he still try to give you a little pointer every now and then?
No, no, he tries to learn from me now. So
Well, that's good. That is really good. Now, you said you had a swing coach. How often do you work with him? I imagine it's all year long.
yeah, I mean, I've always worked with him, I guess, for the past couple years. I guess I would say I see him at his indoor facility. Maybe it's more over winter, obviously.
Right.
I would say at least 5 times a year. And then we'll go out and play a playing lesson where we'll just go play 9 holes. And he'll kind of just coach me there. And we do that, I would say 2 or 3 times a year. And then over summer, I have tournaments. He runs local tournaments nearby, and I'm always out there with him, so I'll see him there too.
What's his name?
His name's John Fisher.
Okay. And how you said you've been working with him for about 2 years.
Yeah, I'd say 2 or 3 years sounds right.
How much has he helped you? I mean, have you gotten a lot from
Oh,
him?
oh yeah, I have. I like I said, I worked with a few guys. I had one coach, and I had him for probably about 3 years also, and then in between those, I had a coach for like a month, and I didn't really like him that much, and then now I'm with John. So
So you've had a lot of help going through. I mean, obviously they've done a lot for you.
yeah, a substantial amount, and not just them, but my parents too. Just driving me around, getting me to the course,
Right.
getting me clubs, balls, tees, anything, and I'm just grateful.
I
So.
was going to say it's kind of an expensive sport, isn't it?
Oh yeah. No, golf's not cheap.
Now, do you belong to a club somewhere?
Yeah, I'm a member at Blackthorn.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, my sister works there.
Yeah.
And my oldest sister, Lauren, her boyfriend does maintenance around there.
Well, it's good you have that connection then. What's your favorite course around?
I would say, wow. I would say maybe it's an hour. I think it's called Harbor Shore. It's up in Michigan.
Okay.
That's really nice. I would say locally though, um, maybe South Bend Country Club.
Oh, okay.
Pretty nice.
Now, you guys, your home course is Swan Lake, am I right?
Yeah.
How do you like that course?
It's pretty nice. I mean, we get out there as much as we can. I would say 3 or 4 times a week. It's pretty nice, especially their practice area. They have a lot of approach ranges, and their driving range. They have, I think, 2 or 3, and they're pretty nice.
You're only a freshman. Have you thought about what goals you might have as you go forward in the sport?
Um, right now, I'm just focusing on improving. I definitely do want to go to college. That's something I want to do. But right now, I'm just focusing on developing myself and I guess just improving scores.
Do you do anything but golf? You have any other sports you play?
Right now, no. I used to be in track. I've done basically everything, but I would say my main other sport was track.
Okay. And you'd probably, well, obviously you can't run track and play golf
Yeah.
same season.
Yeah.
Um, Let's talk about you a little bit. I mean, you have a favorite subject in school?
Ooh. Maybe history or geography, I would
Oh,
say.
I'm so happy to hear that. I was on course to be a history teacher before I got into the big money radio broadcasting gig. But yeah, I'd love to hear somebody else that likes history. American history?
Yeah, I like American history. I would say more geography though is kind of where I lean. I'm big on countries and flags,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I really like reading about countries. So
Yeah, and there's not too many people that know geography very well either.
no, not really. I guess it's kind of, I don't know. It's not as popular as other subjects.
As you go forward, I mean, what do you see yourself doing for a living once you're finished playing golf, you're out of college or whatever you want to do?
I haven't thought about it too much. Um, I realistically, I guess not realistically, what I would want to do is continue in some kind of golf in something. Um, Obviously, again, I got to work on improving myself though. I guess worst case, something in business. I maybe want to start a business.
You can start a golf business. There's people even around here who've done that. I mean, that'd be a good one.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, you got plenty of time, so there's no pressure on that. You got plenty of time to figure it out. Have
Yeah.
you thought about best of all worlds? Or what you'd like to go to college, or is that still just up in the air too?
I want to go to Florida. That's my dream
Yeah.
college. I really like the heat, be able to golf all the time. That's my dream college. That's somewhere I would want to go.
My youngest son is a Florida Gator through and through. That was where he always wanted to go. He never got there, but that was his. He wanted. He goes to football games and everything down there during the year. So that was his dream too. Um, as you're going forward, I mean, first of all, do you do anything else other than golf? Do you have any hobbies or anything like that?
Like I said, I used to run track. I like running. I
Oh,
mean, it's not anything major.
yeah.
But it's something I like to do, I guess. And if I have any extra time, I like hitting the gym. That's something I like to do.
Oh, okay.
Get to the gym spot.
So you're an athletic kind of guy,
Yeah.
and that's where your interests lie. Well, man, I want to thank you for taking the time to let us get to know you a little bit. And congratulations. I know you're having a really good year as you move forward. Hope you get through the sectional and the whole 9 yards. But as a freshman, I'm sure we're going to be running again into each other again here before it's all through for you.
Hope so. Thank you. Thank you for the interview.
And well, thank you for taking the time. And in this segment, we're joined by the new I guess relatively new athletic director at
Yeah.
Marian Ancilla, Adam Enright, man. You've been on the job a few months, but you're really not new to Ancilla or the whole situation there. I mean, you play ball.
No, I'm privy to what's going on. So it's really neat to be back and see the changes. When I was here as a student athlete, no dorms, and really the whole the campus has been overhauled. I walked through the building on my interview with Dr. Natalie Tucker, and I was blown away by the renovations and what some of those spaces look like now. In what used to be, I'll give you an example. What used to be a student lounge with an old broken piano and a pool table is now a really impressive nursing lab with some state-of-the-art, very, very expensive equipment that our nursing program has really benefited from, and that was through a generous donation from the Leak family.
It has changed a lot since you were there. I know you played for Joe Yano when he was there. I was an assistant coach there, so we know each other as well. And those were much different times.
They were, and especially in higher education, we're in a space where things are ultra competitive, not just on the athletics front, but just in the school front. Places that aren't growing and aren't looking to do things differently or progressively are falling behind. So I think Marian has a really good pulse for what needs to happen in the future to continue to thrive and flourish. And it's an exciting time to be here because there are so many really positive changes going on.
Well, the bottom line, I guess, if you look at it, the job market has changed. The whole, work atmosphere outside of college has changed, and if you're going to prepare people, you gotta keep up with that.
Yes, and the technology is now all around us. If you can't manage it or you can't utilize it to be more productive, you also fall behind. So we've got some things happening. We've got what's called our maker space, where we've got a lot of those cool little tech tools that help push industry and help us be a little bit more productive. That's going to kind of be in full swing by the time students get back in the fall. Again, just another example of how Marian sees the needs for the future and how to prepare our students for life after college.
Let's talk about you a little bit. I mean, where were you born and raised? Where did you go to school other than Ancilla and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Hammond, Indiana. I actually attended Munster High School just over the border. So I'm a Northwest Indiana lifer. They call us region rats. I still live in the region. I'm in Cherville, Indiana. So made a few stops along the way, coaching wise. I was in Little Rock, Arkansas, while I was in my baseball coaching career of 15 years. made a stop in the booming metropolis of Marshall, Missouri, which is a little blip on the map in between St. Louis and Kansas City. And then I was able to come back towards home once we had our kids, and worked at Trinity Christian College for 4 years as the head baseball coach, then also the athletic director, men's athletic director there. So it gave me a really good segue into this job, and I really do appreciate now the time our coaches have to put in, because living it and now not living it, I will take not living it 10 times out of 10 with the schedule that I have now as opposed to what I did when I was coaching.
How'd you get into coaching, man? I mean, you saw what guys go through. I mean, it takes a special person to want to do that too.
It does. I was fortunate to have been put in the way of some really wonderful baseball people, and just great people in general. Like you talked about Joe Yanto. Guy has a heart of gold. He cared deeply about his players and his program. I played for a Hall of Fame, Indiana High School Baseball Hall of Famer, Bob Schinken, who passed away a few years ago. I played at South Suburban College for NJCAA Hall of Famer Tracy Archuleta. Steve Ruzich. And then I played at the University of Southern Indiana for two-time Division II National Coach of the Year, and now head coach of Indiana State, Tracy Archuleta. So I got to see people do it in a way that's very transformative, at a very high level, and really just done the right way and done for people. And that really ignited my passion for coaching and athletics in general.
You talked about the difference between, what your job is now and when obviously doing both is a handful. I don't know how you did that, especially at the college level.
Mm-hmm. No, it's, what I've told everyone about this, and what I feel like puts me in a place to be a much better servant leader in this role, is that nobody's judging one against the other. So, at Trinity, I really tried to be attentive to both. But anytime I did something, for our baseball program, I'll give you an example. We raised $15,000. We put up a batter's eye, and it was beautiful. And it was kind of you drove into our complex, and it was the first thing you saw. And everyone in the department said, "Oh, he only cares about baseball. He's only doing things for baseball." And then when I would miss practice or miss something baseball-wise, or show up late because I had something administratively I had to do, our team felt slighted and said, he only cares about being an admin. He doesn't care about our team anymore. So it was a constant juggling act where I didn't want to do too much for one, because each side was keeping score against the other. And here I can just be fully invested in everybody. The meeting time that I have, the ability I have to go out and fight for what our coaches and our programs need, is something that helps me grow into this job, and essentially helps our whole department and our whole institution grow, because we are a big chunk of our community.
Back in the old days, athletic director was kind of like a perk for one of your coaches who especially distinguished himself or whatever. But I remember my dad was AD at Plymouth for a lot of years, and he said, even then, I mean, that was probably almost 20 years ago. He said the job is going to change. He said it's gotten to the point where somebody like me can't do this anymore. You got to be a fundraiser. You got to be somebody who can be a marketer. He says you need really a business background to do the job anymore.
Yeah, it's become a lot about dollars and cents, but my goal is always to be the most visible person, not only in our department, but I try to be for the institution, because again, you look at Marion Ancilla, we're 70% or so athletes. So I feel like it's my job to connect with people and say, hey, here's what's going on here, and we we need your support because this involves the whole community. So business background, yes, I would dare to say you need a bit of a political background as well. You need to be able to shake hands and kiss babies and all that stuff just as much.
How do you like it so far?
It's great. The people here have always been what makes it. It's a very family, relationship centered community. There are people who have been here through the merger for 20 plus years, and that says it all. When people stick around through hard times, through changes, they must really love it, and there's a reason for that. Everybody involved, from faculty, staff, the PHJC, the people down in Indy, they are fully vested in supporting the people who make this thing go. The Indianapolis campus is not, hey, Plymouth is on an island, good luck, figure it out. They send people to us weekly to check in on our needs, to see what the differences are and the differences we need to have in philosophy and operation between Indy and Plymouth, because they're two very different places. So it's a place where we're small, and that's to our advantage, to where we can really care for people and care for students, and things don't slip through the cracks. It's a very well supported, well-oiled machine.
It's the thing that you hit on that perfectly, because it's the thing that I used to remember the most was that, for want of a better phrase, if you failed at Ancilla, it's because you wanted to. I mean, there was somebody there to help you. If you needed help, all you had to do was ask for it. Sometimes you didn't even have to ask for it; they'd find you.
Yep, I was just about to say that. I mean, the outreach for those who are struggling because it's the first time they're away from home, or are struggling because they're going through some sort of, adverse situation, whether it's with their family or whether it's personal. The support system is there, and we can do that because we've got such a good ratio of faculty to students and staff to students. There are names with all the faces. Nobody is a name on a roster or just a face in the sea of a lecture hall class. There's some really deep, meaningful relationships being made all over campus, and I believe the students really feel that, because you see them popping into offices of faculty and popping into coaches' offices and looking for just conversations and guidance about everyday life things that at bigger institutions you do not get.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that guys that were having trouble academically, their teachers would come to us and say, "Look, can you let them know I'm here, or they can come to me." And there was always that hand reaching out to anybody who might need it.
Well, and that's in their best interest, because we're here to serve them. But also, it's not a situation where we've got this isn't IU where there's 100 people waiting for one spot in the Kelley School of Business. We want to see everybody who comes here succeed, because if we send people away that we don't help to succeed and they end up failing, we get the reputation of not helping them.
Yeah.
Which again may be somewhat true or not true if they fail out, because no matter how much help we can give you, you still need to work for it and earn it.
Yeah.
But we want to send people out of the world that impact their communities and are good ambassadors for what they took away from this place, and give us a really good foothold in whatever community they're in, to say, hey, you need to go there and get some skills and learn what they have to offer you in Franciscan values and everything that the holistic package looks like, and take it into your life.
Let's talk athletics a little bit. I mean, obviously, you took over and you had a vision for what you wanted to see it become there. What is that vision?
That's a great question. I think at any private institution, the success of your athletics department is greatly dependent on the continuity of your staff. And prior to me, we've had quite a bit of turnover, coaching-wise, administratively, and I think bolstering some of those pieces with a little bit, like you said, need a little bit of a business model, a business background, but a little bit of a plan to support that. But our athletes need coaches they know are going to be there through their 2 years of play. And there's always going to be opportunities for coaches to move on and pursue a 4-year opportunity to coach, and that's great. But that shouldn't be every year replacing 6 to 8 coaches, whatever it's been in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
So we need to build some rosters and build some teams that have that continuity where coaches have the cadence of the year and the recruiting cycle, and they're well versed in NJCAA, so that those individual programs become very well-oiled machines on their own, and then we can tackle some big long-term vision stuff. So, just to not to give any of the secrets away, but we've got some things in the hopper for some additional practice space, especially for our outdoor sports. That when they get started in the early spring, they're going to need some indoor space where they can do some significant training and preparation for those seasons. Because a lot of times their first, baseball, softball, for instance, a lot of times their first time outside is when they play in the spring.
Yeah.
So there are some big, important and interesting meetings coming up that might move the needle quite a bit for what our outdoor sports can do with their training indoors.
Well, man, as that needle starts to move, make sure you stay in touch with us. It sounds like something we'd like to tell people about.
Yes. Well, once there is something concrete to tell people, everybody will know. I will make sure of it. So, but yeah, it's exciting because I think probably for the first time in a long time, the people across campus that are in charge of making decisions and involved in those decisions, but aren't necessarily athletics-minded people, are really listening to the needs of athletics. And that's when you have colleges that thrive, because the students see that there's a reach across the academic aisle, so to speak, to athletics and vice versa, where everyone's working together in the best interest of the student athletes.
It makes sense, though. I mean, the merger took place just a couple of years ago, and it takes a little time for the dust to settle down and people to get into their spaces and know the whole situation and what it needs. I mean, it makes sense that things are starting to get into that position.
You've nailed it. And there's there's been a period, 5 years or so, that we have been waiting to see kind of where everything's going to land. And to that point, I want to highlight that the Indy campus has been extremely mindful of preserving and honoring the legacy of Ancilla College, where they didn't come in and say, okay, we're going to scrap every single thing that Ancilla College was and is and stood for, scrap the name right away, and kind of rip the Band-Aid off in year one. They wanted to include the PHJC and make sure everybody who was still involved after the merger, felt appreciated for what Ancilla College was for so many years to the community, and in that, Ancilla College is one of the things that the Ancilla College did really, really well were a continuing education for adult studies, and Marion's identified that and said, hey, we need to bring that back, because that was really successful, tying in community people who needed to come back for continuing education or pursuing a degree after they were done with work, at 5 o'clock. they've been very good about evaluating and looking at what was and what worked and keeping it.
Well, man, I want to thank you for taking the time. I know you got a busy day ahead. You got what, graduation today?
Graduation today, I get to see. So I'm in charge of all of the behind the scenes, the setup, the tear down. I get a first hand look at how the hamburger is made. So I'm going to get to see the real inner workings of this commencement ceremony, graduation mass. So I'm excited to get my eyes on this for the first time.
Well, man, once again, thanks for taking the time. We'll be in touch. We'll get you on a little more often in the coming year.
Looking forward to it, Rusty. Thank you, man.
That is Adam Enright, the athletics director at Marion Ancilla. And Andrew Dreibelbus joins me here in this segment of the Coaches Show. Man, it's been like a year since we talked, but it's the same result a year later. Your team's playing extremely well, and you first conference championship in Ancilla history.
Yeah, it's been a really fun year. We've met for a couple of years now on the show, and I didn't have a roster at all 4 or 5 years ago when they brought me in. So it's been a really long ride, and it's been so much fun this year just showing up to events and knowing that you have a chance to compete. Because for 3 or 4 years now, I've shown up and gotten my butt kicked, and every coach will tell you, that's not fun. We know we're building towards something, and I knew I had something special this year. So we showed that a little bit in the fall, and then the spring we've really taken off. We won 4 out of the 5 conference matches, and like you said, first conference championship in school history. The other 2 matches that we played in that we didn't win, we finished second. Had a little bit of a hiccup at the conference tournament last week. We were supposed to play 36 holes and rain shortened it to 18. So we were prepped and ready to go for 36. So there's certain things you do when you're expecting to play 36, and we didn't get there. So next week regionals, we're really hoping to advance here to nationals. So
let's talk about that for a second. So you're expecting to play 36, you play 18, but you play the round different if you've got another 18 coming up, rather than it's going to be over after the first one. You probably take more chances.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything.
Yep. You're conserving some energy. You're thinking differently about how you might play something in the second round. We knew that there was a chance of weather, so it was kind of hanging out there. And it was like, hey guys, maybe you should play your hardest because we might not get the second 18 in. But at the same time, my guys were ready to go, and some of the other teams wanted to leave and not wait out the weather to see if we had a chance, because they had 3 to 4 hour drives, and my guys were pushing to go back out there. They really wanted that second 18 holes, and they thought we could have gotten it done if we had played 36.
Let's talk about the way the weather has affected your season. I mean, I'm dealing with coaches now. You and I are talking at like 10 o'clock on a Friday night because I had trying to make contact with people who are either working on their field or playing a game because the weather has kept them from doing it for a week. That's got to be maddening as you try to put together any kind of a season.
It is, yeah. And, that's just kind of what we get in northern Indiana in the spring. And this has been a pretty rough spring. Like most of the programs around here, we only had a handful of practices before our first match, just because, we can't get outside here, and it's a condensed schedule. Everything's kind of shoved into a 6-week period to begin with. And then once things start getting canceled, it gets even more, everything gets shoved in. So at one point we had 3 matches in 4 days in 3 different locations. Luckily, one of them we hosted. We didn't have to travel for all 3. But yeah, no, it's terrible. It's something that we unfortunately have to deal with. But like some sports, we had commencement today. So hopefully our season goes 3 or 4 weeks past that, just like some of the spring ones do for high school. You've got state golf going into June. So unfortunately, it's the nature of the beast here with Indiana weather in the spring, but it is really hard to get into a rhythm sometimes. Yeah.
Let's talk about the academic part of that too, because you're golfers, okay? You're not going to get in and out of a match quickly. It's going to take as long as it takes. So you're talking maybe 2 hours for a round, And no matter what time you
Oh
get,
no, way more than that,
Yeah,
Rusty.
okay.
We're talking 4.5 to 5 because
Okay.
we've got 65 to 70 guys out there. So yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand is how long it takes. These
Yeah.
guys are walking 3 to 5 miles over the period of 4 to 5 hours, and these matches, especially for us, as our most of our conference matches are in Michigan, they turn out to be 15, 16-hour days for us. I'm getting up at 5 a.m. We're leaving at 6 a.m. and we're back at 9 or 10 p.m. So no, these are really long and exhausting days.
Okay, and let's add to that because I've coached there. I've gone
Yep.
to Port Huron, Michigan on a weeknight and
Yep.
played a doubleheader and come home. They are still expected to be in class the next day, no matter what time they get home from that match. So, you've got that stress coming down on your guys. They know they've got to get everything done academically, or they're not going to be going to the next match.
Yeah, we've been really blessed at Marion Ancilla. I know some of our schools in our conference have had some issues with that, and they've had professors hold guys out of matches. Everybody has been amazing for me in my entire time there. Luckily, we have something that I think some of the other schools don't have, and that's a student athlete or a student, athlete representative. One of the teachers basically is the person in charge of getting all the information from the coaches to the professors. We don't really have any contact with the professors, and this position works out great. And as long as you get your roster to her on time, she's going to let the professors know, and they're going to work with us. Now, this last week with finals, you throw in the conference tournament, the finals, the regionals. It's a lot going on, but again, we've been very blessed there to have professors that will rearrange schedules for the guys. I know some of my guys did reschedule some finals for this week to make it easier for them. So, it's been great for that, because that can absolutely cause chaos if everybody is not on the same page. And luckily, fingers crossed, we have been.
We had your boss on earlier in the show, Adam Enright. I called him new AD, and I said, "You're not new to anybody over there." But, and he made the same comment, and it's something that, even in my time there is a handout for athletes. If you're struggling, if you need help, if you need, somebody to deal with you one-on-one and make a special, they're more than willing to do that for you. I was always impressed with that. The professors were right there for the guys. It wasn't like they were trying to punish them. They wanted to help them.
Yeah, as you know, we do have some barriers at our school, being so small, with a student population of around 300, and we're competing against schools that have thousands of students on campus. But with that comes the student to teacher ratio that's amazing for us. You're not just a name or a number in class. Class sizes are much smaller. Your professors know when you're not there, so and they're willing to call you out on it.
Yes,
So
they are.
for all the barriers that we complain about, and I'm sure you did in your time there too, we also have some things built in that other places don't have. So they outweigh each other, and it all comes out good in the end.
Well, and I say that in the course of recruiting. And before we get to your guys themselves, talk about that. You're recruiting golfers to a school in northern Indiana. That's got to be an interesting sell. But you seem to have gotten some really good guys.
Yeah, it's been a chore. Obviously, recruiting is a 24/7, 365 job, except for the dead periods where you can't talk to them.
Well, except for the dead periods when you're out raising money.
Yes. Man, there's so much that goes into it, and you hear so many no's before you get a yes. And our weather is a massive barrier. I've been very close with some international students in the past, but if you're coming from Spain or somewhere that has really nice weather and you can play 12 months out of the year, you don't want to come here where you can only play 8, and then you're stuck inside with snow and cold weather that you're not used to. So no, it's and this year's roster, like you said, it's a non-traditional roster. I've got 2 guys that are not typical college students, I guess you would say. One that went into the military, and then somebody who went to school with him. They're 24 and 25 years old. I don't have just 17, 18, 19-year-olds. So it's been a completely different dynamic for me this year and last year with a different roster. And it's actually been really cool. They've kind of fed off of each other a little bit, and we've bonded really well as a team, even with that age gap. So
You had a guy coming back. I'm going to ruin his last name, Hunter.
Yeah.
Zedeb.
Yep. Stib.
Stib.
Yep.
Last year had just an amazing year for you, and you knew you had him coming back. Talk about your guys. I mean, he had another great year, and you got a bunch of other guys that have had great years.
He did, yeah. He was the conference player of the year last year and advanced to nationals as an individual. Finished second in the conference player of the year race this year. I believe it was by 2 strokes. Starting to hit his stride now at the right time, though. It's something that we talk about. Guys are frustrated at the beginning of the season. They think they're going to come out and shoot the best scores of the year in the first match, and it's like, no, man, we were just inside for 3 or 4 months. It's not happening. So, as a coach, you're constantly resetting expectations and trying to get guys to hit goals that are achievable, right?
Right.
And then once we hit those, then we can move on to the ones that you really want. But no, Hunter is definitely hitting his stride here. Actually, we went and played a practice round in Battle Creek at our regional site yesterday. Played really well. Played not so well for the first couple holes, and then I got on him,
Right.
and he started playing better, and he said, I might need you to do that again for me next week. So he said, if I'm struggling, will you just come yell at me and tell me I'm terrible? And he said, it seems to work. And I'm like, hey, I got no problem doing that. Sure, absolutely. So yeah, no, Hunter has been great. Semi-local product. He's from New Prairie High School, and
Yeah.
it's been really hard to keep local guys here. We don't have a massive base to draw from like some of our conference schools do.
Right.
But so a lot of our guys come from maybe the Indy area, but Hunter is one that I was able to keep home, and he's actually going to go play at IU Kokomo for the next 2 years.
Oh,
So
cool.
we've been able to find him a spot at the next level to play 2 more years. So.
And then you got some other guys. You got another Juan Benavente.
Yep, Juan Pablo Benaventes from Mexico. He's one that I was, like I said, I had been really close with international students in the past, and he was all set to go to a Division II school, and something didn't work out. So I was able to get him to find his way here, and that's been massive. Juan and Hunter have been my 1A and 1B. I think they only finished maybe 3 strokes apart in all of our conference matches when you add it up at the end of the day. So no, they're both 1A and 1B right there, and they've been leading the team all season.
And Jace Luger, I mean, he's another one there, right there for you, helping you out.
Yeah, Jace is a freshman that honestly played a lot better than I thought he was going to in the fall. Like we talked about before, it's 2 different seasons. When you play in the fall, you're hot. You've been playing all
Right,
year.
yeah.
You're coming off the summer, and you're in peak condition. So he was right there in the fall, and it's taken him about a month here, but he's finally on track. He's been playing his best golf the last 2 matches that we've played in. So I expect him to be right pretty close to Hunter and Juan next week, actually. So yeah, no, it's been really exciting.
It's going to be hard to say bye to Hunter, isn't it? I mean, he's been a big part of your program for the last 2 years.
It is, yeah. No, if I don't have Hunter, I don't have a program, to be honest with you. So, when you're starting from scratch and you're trying to find those pillars, and we had Josh Kling before, who stayed for 2 years
Right,
from
yeah.
Bremen.
Yeah.
And he's playing at Huntington now. So you find that one guy that can be kind of your anchor for 2 years, and I really try to involve the current players anytime I have a recruit come to campus. I'm not interested in selling anybody a raw deal. So, I want them to talk to the current players and say, is this guy for real, or is he selling me a bunch of crap? And no, Hunter's, all my guys are always great. They're happy to do that. I think that the biggest thing that I did with Hunter that got him to come here a couple of years ago was I took him to Warren Golf Course with Josh, who was currently on my team,
Right.
with a guy named Andy Clark, who had graduated from my team. So the
Right.
4 of us went and played around, and we're out there for 5 hours, and the conversation just goes where it goes. So those personal relationships are really what coaching's all about, right? It's not what happens on the field. It's everything that happens afterwards, and they'll call you 20 years later, and, oh, coach, I remember when you told me this, and I told you were wrong, and you're actually right. And it's those things that you'll have for life. It's a relationship for life. So
Well,
yeah, this one will definitely be tough.
I know exactly what you're saying because we talked about your boss earlier, Adam Enright, coming in, and he played for me and Joe Yano when Joe was there as the head coach, and he's just he's a great guy. I mean, it's those relationships. You're exactly right. Every now and then I'll get a text from a guy who played for me, and you don't expect that, but it's really cool. But that's what you coach for.
Oh, absolutely. And I had a guy a couple of years ago, Brian. His name's Brian. He was a wrestler. Obviously, I'm building my team. I don't have a full team. I just need bodies. You know?
Right? Yeah.
Oh, you want to try golf? Sure, absolutely. I get texts from him on a monthly basis now saying, "Hey, coach, I'm getting closer to shooting in the 70s." It's a guy that shot in the 120s for me. But it's a game that he learned to love, and golf is something that you can play for the rest of your life. So, Brian sends me texts all the time. Here's my scorecard, man. I'm getting closer to 70s, and like, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see him shaving 40 strokes off of his score in 2 or 3 years, and he's like, man, I never would have tried golf if it wasn't for you. So, that's something that you change somebody's life for the rest of their life. So those are the fun parts.
I'm going to say you're lucky in the sport you coach, though, too, because there are a lot of my guys that are still playing baseball at even 30.
No, and slow pitch softball is not the same. I gave it a shot. I was a baseball player in high school and had some injuries so I couldn't go to the next level. But slow pitch softball is not it for me either. So.
But golf, yeah. I mean, you can play that for the rest of your life. You got a chance to affect guys' lives for God's sake, until they die. I mean, most guys will play until they can't walk anymore.
And not everybody's concerned about their score. That's the cool thing about golf. I am, because I'm competitive, so I care about my score. But some people don't care about it. It's just a way to get out there and hang out with their friends, or get outside for a few hours. And it's one of those things that you can play for the rest of your life, whether you're good at it or not.
I'm going to give you a chance here to don't give a sales pitch if you don't want to or whatever. But I mean, you want to keep the local golfers, and there's some guys that are really good golfers around that are playing for high school teams. If they want to continue and have maybe some of them a bite they can chew at JUCO and be a part of a good situation. I mean, how do they get a hold of you if they want to play golf at Ancilla?
Yeah, no, I am not a salesman, for better or worse. Not a big fan. The biggest thing that we can offer is Swan Lake. Chad Hutzel is great for us out there. There's no other facility in the area like that. And as a golfer, it is an individual sport, and you get out of it what you put into it. I can schedule tee times and practices and everything till I'm blue in the face, but if somebody doesn't want it, then it's just not going to happen.
Right.
And that practice area at Swan Lake has absolutely everything that you need. It's not just a driving range. It's got a short game area, a short game bunker. It's got 5 greens that you can hit at from 100 and in. We are finally getting a simulator out there, which is exciting. I don't know how many yet. I've heard anywhere from 1 to 3. So we'll have that over the winter. But man, it's an individual sport. You get out of it what you put into it. It's not basketball. I can't draw up an easy layup for you when you're struggling, but I can help you talk through the game. My biggest thing is the mental part. I love talking about that. Talking about shots we should hit in certain situations, or how to move on from mistakes. That mental aspect is something that I really enjoy. And it's never about me. It's always about the players. I never ask anybody to give me a 2-year commitment. If you come here and you go, this just isn't the place for me, totally cool. I'll help you try to help you find somewhere else. Or if you just want to go to a big school and have your college experience, that's fine too. So you know what? It is what you make of it. And I just love to have guys come in and have a good time for as long as they're here.
It's funny you mentioned the facilities at Swan Lake. I mean, our athlete of the week this week is a golfer at LaVille, and he's a freshman. And he talked about that. We have that interview on this weekend too, about how all the things they have there that he can work on, the practice areas they have. So, having access to that is really huge.
Yeah, it's massive. I'm growing up in South Bend, I don't recall having anything like that. And even with 36 holes at Swan Lake, there's times where it's busy and you can't get on the course. So you have to go to the practice area, which is probably where you should have gone to begin with. So no, I mean, everything is there for you to put whatever you want into it, and hopefully you get out of it what you put into it.
Well, man, I'm not asking for predictions or anything, but how do you feel about your chances as you go in here? I know you want to get into the regional tournament and all that stuff. I mean, how do you feel about how that's going to work out?
I feel great. There's 14 teams in our regional. It's all conference teams that we've already played this year and beaten. The bad thing is that similar to the state of Indiana, they've completely changed how many teams advance. So it used to be 3 teams and 2 individuals. Now it's 2 teams and 1 individual, and there's an at-large process. And honestly, our ranking isn't where it should be. I feel like a mid-major, and the SEC somehow snuck Oklahoma and Alabama into the tourney. So looking at the rankings doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I really hope we don't have to apply for an at-large berth. But no, I feel really good. There's going to be probably 3 or 4 teams going for 2 spots. And after our practice round yesterday, I feel really good about it. A couple of the guys had been there before, and some of those guys that saw it for the first time yesterday felt pretty good about it. So feeling really good. Fingers crossed for a first place, but I'll take a second place if that gets us through to nationals. So, and as you know, we host nationals at Swan Lake. It's bid out on a 3-year deal, and Swan Lake has the next 3. So that saves me a massive amount of money in hotel fees if we make it. So
And
that's great.
it's also a course that you guys know. I mean, I
Yes.
can't believe
built-in
how
advantage.
much
Absolutely.
advantage that would be.
Yep.
Well, man, I want to thank you for taking the time. Like I said, it's really late on a Friday. I got to get all this together, but thanks for taking the time, and I'll get in touch after the tournament, and we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, sounds good, Rusty. I appreciate it. Anytime.
That's Andrew Dreibelbus, the head golf coach at Ancilla. We'll be right back. And Brad Heck joins me in this segment, the head tennis coach at Plymouth for the girls and the boys, but girls season right now. And man, I've been looking at your scores. First thing I'm going to say is, how many ranked teams do you have on your non-conference schedule? I mean, it's just like a murderer's row of teams that you play.
Yeah, I mean the only ranked team we play is Culver Academy, and they're 25th, I think, and probably should be higher. But we play a lot of district ranks, so you kind of get ranked in your district, and then they take kind of those district rankings and then basically pull a state ranking. So there's kind of 8 districts around the state, and about 8 teams in a district. So there's kind of 64, so to speak. But we've played, I think, almost every single match so far against the team that's been district ranked at the time that we played them. So we've only had, I think, 2 or 3 maybe of the 9 matches that we've played. So we always have played a really competitive schedule at the beginning of the year. Between like West Lafayette and Valpo are always good teams. Culver Academy. We usually play Chesterton, and we postponed that twice, and so we're not going to end up getting that one in. But we added Fairfield this year because our home tournament got canceled, and they're a very strong team. So we always play a lot at the beginning of the year, and we kind of tell the kids, we were kind of 1-3 at one point, I think, and we tell them, just don't get frustrated. Like we play these tough teams, put ourselves in the pressure situations so that when we get to the conference, we're ready to compete at a high level in those matches, and playing good teams only makes you better as well. So just seeing those better serves and better players and things will only prepare you for when the conference season comes. And we've had a lot of success once the conference season started. So we're real kind of excited about where we're at, and had some growing pains early, especially with kind of some younger kids having to step up and things. But we're real excited where we're at right now, and we had a really good week this last week.
I was going to say, that's kind of a hallmark of the tennis program at Plymouth. Even the boys, the girls, both. You don't shy away from playing the best of the best.
Yeah, no, we love playing good teams, especially early on in the season, just to kind of see where we're at. And we've dropped a couple of our better kind of boys opponents, just where we're at right now with the talent that we've had. But girls wise, we've had some more individual talented players, so to speak. So we definitely we have a lot of good teams and big enrollment schools. Even if they're maybe not historically great tennis or haven't been great tennis, they could be, with the number of kids they have and things. So, but no, it's good to play those teams, and we've got a good rapport with a lot of those coaches and things as well. So we love to play those teams that are going to, like I said, get us ready for the conference season and make us better teams, better team, better players and things, and prepare us for the long-term kind of goals of trying to win conference and sectional and those things.
Kind of said that to set up this question. Looking at your schedule, knowing the way things operate over there, I got to say, Sophia Cantero, your number one player.
Mm-hmm.
Think about this. Every night you go onto the court, even if you're playing a middle conference opponent, you're playing against a player who may be an international. She's got to play some of the best tennis players in the state of Indiana almost every night.
Yeah. We especially at a one singles, we see it at one doubles some too. But I go to those all state meetings and things at the end of the year because I'm kind of involved in the coaches association and things, and you see the list of the singles players, doubles teams, and whatever, and every single year we on our singles schedule, our one singles player schedule has honestly, like, usually it's 5 to 7 all state out of the top 30 players, we usually see 5 to 7 and maybe even more matches, because sometimes we play Culver twice or Warsaw twice or whatever. So, and that Warsaw girl from the last couple of years has been first team all state. So yeah, you don't get a night off at one singles for sure. And Sophia's been getting better each match, and had a couple tough matches early in the year. Maybe didn't play her best, but she's kind of starting to gel a little bit more, kind of get back in a groove, and she's playing more to her strengths, and maybe not getting so frustrated. Having a little grace, giving herself a little grace. Knowing the players she's playing, but she's doing well. She had a great week this last week, and went 3-0 at one singles in our conference in a row, and 3 straight nights is pretty impressive. So she had a good week along with our rest of our team.
I was going to say, with her and your one doubles, I mean, like I said, every night you're walking on the court with some of the best players. Every night, some of the best players. You can't take a night off. That says a lot about the mental toughness of those players.
Yeah, it's a grind for sure, and I try to let the girls kind of be loose and kind of have a little fun and things, but before we get to the match, hey, let's dial it in, let's start getting ready, kind of thing. But we got competitors on our team for sure. We've got some younger girls that are just kind of learning the ropes and kind of how to compete at a higher level and those kind of things. And they're still competitive. Don't get me wrong. We're just kind of learning things a little bit. But especially the girls that we have, one singles, 2 singles, and 1 doubles. Those girls have kind of been through some of the fires and things with us. And Lydia is only a sophomore at 1 doubles, so she hasn't as much. But she played a lot of varsity last year matches and was very much part of our varsity success as well, and pushing kids in practice. So, but those positions have had a lot of success so far, kind of leading our team and doing well.
You talked earlier about some growing pains early with some younger players and things like that. And honestly, we've already beat the schedule to death, but how do you feel about where you're at? I mean, it's been one of those weird years. You've had on again, off again with the weather and, start and stop. I mean, how do you feel about where you're at?
Yeah, we're happy with where we're at. Like, we're 5-4 overall record, but we're 4-0 in the conference. So we're in a great spot in the conference right now, and Northridge and us are the only 2 undefeated teams, and Goshen's right in that mix. They lost a really close match to Northridge last night. So, and Goshen may actually be the better team there. They had to default a match where they were kind of ahead and probably the favorite, and that was kind of the decider. So, but we're excited with where we're at. We knew with Sophia, with Mia, and with Marissa and Lydia, we had 4 strong players coming back, and kind of wherever, as a coach, wherever they fill in the lineup. But I think we made the right decision with where they're playing, to give ourselves the best, chance to win as a team and whatnot. But kind of the development of Ellie Cryer and Hanley Feldman at 2 doubles and Allison Groby at 3 singles has kind of elevated us, so to speak. We would have won those other conference matches kind of without them, but basically we need them to score points in the conference tournament to get seeded. We may need them both, potentially one of these matches coming up this week, to pull out some more wins in the conference. So, But kind of just seeing, like Ellie and Hanley are both freshmen and kind of learning and kind of thrown into the fire, and they're getting better every match. And Ellie's played more tennis in the past. Hanley's just a great, 3-sport athlete as a
Yeah.
freshman, and kind of both thrown in there together, and they're doing well. And they're 3-1 in the conference right now, which I wouldn't have maybe anticipated that a couple weeks ago when we kind of put them together. But they're doing well and starting to gel and getting better every match, and so that's been exciting. And Allison Groby was where she was last year, kind of a mid to low JV player, and moving all the way up and putting some time in and improving and playing 3 singles. And she's also 3-1 in the conference at 3 singles. So been a pleasant surprise for us, and she's beat some good players from good teams at 3 singles. So, and had some good results. So we're really excited about where those younger girls are and their development. I know they're going to keep getting better. They're great teammates, great kids. They're working hard, and we're excited.
I was going to say, you had players that I got the feeling when I talked to you early in the season that you felt really good about your team. Maybe not as experienced as some teams as you've had in the past, especially at the spots they're playing, but it sounds like you're really happy with them.
Yeah, like personally, I'm always, always worried, like how can we get these kids to improve? How can we, get them competitive, competing better in these situations, those things. And some of those earlier matches kind of helped us. We just, like I said, we threw them in the fire, and we kind of go through some of that. And now they're kind of reaping the benefits of even some losses and things and learning from them. But yeah, we lost a lot from last year between seniors and whatnot. Just what we lost from last year towards this year, and maybe even more that we lost than what we were expecting to coming into the year. So we maybe don't have the depth that we've had the last quite a few years, honestly, across the board. And our JV's kind of struggling a little bit. We just don't have the experience there and numbers for some of the classes. Like, we've got a small junior class and a small sophomore class, but we got a lot of freshmen. So we'll probably reap the benefits of that in a couple of years, with having a stronger JV and whatnot. But they're having some growing pains. But yeah, we've like I said, we're doing a good job of working hard in practice, and what little practice time we've had, I guess. Which, like you said, with the weather has been a challenge as well. But I mean, any team can make the excuse and, it's the weather. We haven't been practicing outside. We've, been traveling a lot. It's just the way it's been for everybody this tennis season. And we're just trying to make the best of it, not use excuses, and compete hard each match. And we've done a really good job of pulling out some conference matches here. And like I said before, we're led by some good, experienced players at the top that have really kind of eased the burden, I guess, so to speak. Because Sophia at 1, Mia at 2, and Marissa and Lydia at 1 doubles, they're all undefeated 4-0 in the conference right now. And I don't ever remember a year in recent memory, especially at 1 singles, that where we could say that about those 3 spots specifically.
Right.
I mean, a lot of years we've been undefeated at 3 singles and both doubles just because we have depth. But we can't, we struggle to win at the top against those kind of all-state caliber players. And there may not be any all-state players in our conference for the first time in a long, long time, at least at the, the singles position. But it's been fun to see, like I said, our seniors and our experience kind of paying off for us.
You say you're 4-0 in the conference, which, it's not like you're not used to being there. But, how do you feel about that going in? Because as well as I do, it's gotten to the point now. It's the same thing in baseball and softball. This is the point where everybody starts beating everybody else that isn't supposed to beat everybody else. Do you feel like you're really solid as you go into this really crunch time?
Yeah, I mean, and tennis is a weird sport. It always has been because it's so matchup based.
Yeah.
We can say, oh, we beat, Northwood 4-1, and then Northwood beat somebody, 4-1, and then we turn around the next night and we lose to that team 4-1 or whatever. It's just kind of, they're high school kids, right? Like, yeah. I hate to say it, but they're high school kids, and just matchups, determine a lot. we play this team that maybe matches up with our strengths and we lose 2 close matches or whatever, and then things can happen. So it's it's a grind every match in the NLC, and we haven't had any easy matches. I mean, I know some of the match scores are 2-4-1s and 2-5-0s, but even in the 5-0, with Concord, we had a really close straight setter. We had another close straight set match. We had a 3-set match. So like they're just tough matches, and you just got to be ready to play every night. And the other thing is, tennis is so cyclical sometimes too, because Warsaw's been so good for the last several years, and they had 4 freshmen maybe that played in the top 7 for 4 years, and then they graduated those girls last year. So they're just not, they're not as strong, not as
Right.
deep or whatever as they normally are. Northwood's been so good for so long, and they graduated a ton from last year, similar to us. But then, Goshen and Northridge are the teams that we have this week, back to back, and those are probably the 2 best teams this year besides us. So, I would highly anticipate that us, Goshen, and Northridge probably finish 1, 2, and 3. Not that any of us couldn't lose to another school,
Right.
potentially in a dual match, but I think those are the top 3 as far as just overall quality of team, depth, tough matchups for other teams and whatnot. So it just, you have the traditionally strong teams, and we're usually one of those. But Goshen, for a lot of years wasn't as good, and they had a couple freshmen that are now juniors, and they got some other kids that have played tennis more, and so they've got a really young team still, but a very good team, and Northridge has some individual good players at the top spots, and some depth behind them too, so they're a tough matchup. So we'll see what happens this week.
Well, and let's add the other wild card into that mix. You guys have a conference tournament that is huge, and you've been around this as long as I have. Weird things sometimes happen in that tournament.
Oh yeah, and that's why I said I knew we would be good at the top spots, but I didn't know where we would be at the 2 doubles and 3 singles, and those girls have put themselves in a good position to get seeded. And even just getting seeded, it doesn't guarantee you get into the front draw, but a lot of times you end up playing somebody that is one of the lower couple that maybe a little weaker, or maybe at least somebody that you beat the first time, right? And even just getting to that front draw of the conference tournament kind of gets you that minimum number of points, and then obviously we're trying to win every spot, so to speak. But like I said, I didn't know exactly where we'd be at those spots, but right now we're in great shape to get seated at all 5 positions, and not that that's a guarantee or anything, but I think we're in good shape for that to happen, and that's going to be a big benefit. I don't know that any other school, I mean, there's a chance, every Northridge or Goshen could get seated at every spot, but we may end up being, maybe the only one that gets seated everywhere or something. So that could help us out in that conference tournament format of trying to get that win there.
Well, man, I want to thank you for taking the time. It's a late night on a Friday, and you've had a long day. I've had a long day, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. And we'll get back in touch here in a week or so and catch up with how you're doing.
Okay. Thanks, Rusty. Appreciate it.
It's Brad Heck, the head tennis coach at Plymouth. And in this segment, we're joined by J.B. Overmeyer, the head softball coach at Culver. And man, I saw your record. I had to give you a call and give you a chance to talk to us about your team. I mean, you are unbeaten, and the fact you played any games with the weather we've had is a miracle. But unbeaten, man, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm happy so far this year with the play of our girls here. So they've got a mission in mind, and they're online with it right now. So
it seems to me that mission has to be hitting as many softballs as they can. You're killing the ball at the plate.
Yeah, they like to attack the ball. That's for sure. And the funny thing is, we don't work on hitting that much here and there, but these girls they have it in them.
you got a lot of people having great years. I mean, Abby Zayner is just, I don't, but she's not the only one. I mean, Aiden, I believe, Aiden Molbash is having a great year. Gracie Milliam is having a great year. You got a lot of people with double digit RBIs. I mean, it just seems up and down the lineup you're doing well.
Yeah. You got Abby leading off, Abby Zayner and Brooke Davis. She's moving Abby around, and Aiden's she's making good contact, and Gracie comes in, cleans them up, and then we got the Schlemmer sisters that come in, and they're seeing and hitting the ball well, and Maddie Kitts is getting some good hits. I mean, just the all girls, Hayden Luke,
Yeah.
in the 9 spot, she's hitting well this year. So yeah, it's fun.
Is this something you expect? I mean, I'm sure you've worked with these girls for a couple of years now. I mean, is this something you saw coming?
I saw it in them. The seniors right now, that's when I started coaching, when they were freshmen. And, they had a good group of girls in front of them to watch. Some of the older girls at that time, I thought their hitting was good too. And just watching them grow over the last 4 years. And, then the juniors are seeing them, their work ethic and what they do, and it's just kind of, they're just kind of following each other. So it's nice to see that as a coach.
I was going to say, it's not like you haven't had success in the past, but it looks like, like you said, that success the last few years is starting to breed that down to the younger girls.
Yeah. And that's what you hope for as a coach, that you're saying the right things, doing the right things, and the girls are buying into what you want to get accomplished, and these girls are doing that.
Talk about your off season a little bit, because a lot of times, a good year is made. How did that go with you?
I've got 4 girls that play travel ball. So, they're playing softball quite a bit throughout the year. And, some of the other girls, they do get together and play catch, whatever. And, the freshmen that are coming, I've got girls on here that haven't played softball before. And, I've got an exchange student. She's never played softball, and, she's catching on and doing some good things too. So it's just, good attitudes, no drama. And when they show up to practice or games, they're there to work, and they work hard.
Talk about is there some secret to what you're teaching as a hitting coach? Because obviously you're getting through to them.
Like I said, we don't work on it that much. Early in workouts, 2 days a week, we're in the batting cage, and, I just watch them change some of their mechanics, change some of their stances. And so it comes down to seeing the ball and hitting the ball. I'm no miracle worker. I hit balls at them and toss balls at them, and they do the rest.
You're smart enough to put their name in the lineup card and get out of the way, I guess.
That's right.
That's it's a secret to coaching, man. That's absolutely the secret to coaching.
Yep.
I gotta feel like and you're getting good pitching performances too. You got looks like 2 girls especially that are having great years. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's just it's nice. Aiden's she's grown a lot since middle school, and she's a very good pitcher. She's consistent, doesn't walk a lot of girls, and she's pretty smart. She works hard. She after practice she'll go, to her pitching coach, and she'll work out some more. And Savannah Schlemmer, she's the number 2, and she works hard at it too. She throws strikes, and that's all you can hope
Yeah.
for. Hey, put a good defense out there, and you have confidence that they have your back, and throw something. And you can't really do a whole lot about walks, so let them hit it. Let's make some plays and get out of there.
Well, you mentioned Aiden too, and one of the things that whether it's baseball or softball you look at is walks to strikeouts, and she's struck out 40. She's only walked 2 people with 41 strikeouts on the year. That's just as gaudy as a 600 batting average.
Yeah, like she puts time and effort into it, and yeah, I'm glad I have her. I can tell you that.
It's got to take some of the pressure off, though, too, for your pitchers, knowing they got some wiggle room. You're going to score a run or two, and if you have a bad inning or throw a bad pitch, you can get away with it a little bit.
Yep, yeah, definitely. What you can't do anything about is, walking 5 to 10 batters a game, and that's why I'm like I said, I'm glad to have them.
How do you feel about where you're at right now? Are you where you thought you'd be? A little ahead of the curve? I mean, what's your take on that?
The North Miami game was a test for us, kind of our first test, and the Mott Christian, they came and gave us a good game. Some of the other games, Argus and Academy, they're rebuilding. LaVille, man, they've improved a ton over last year, and they're kind of rebuilding. They've got some freshmen there at LaVille that that's going to turn their program around. And we were at Elkhart Christian last night. They had a couple girls out, a couple seniors were sick or off somewhere. So we played some games against some teams that are kind of in the rebuilding phase, and which I've been there before. So yeah, I'm happy where we're at. It's kind of where I hope we'd be, but some of the wins you get, you're happy you won, but you don't feel like you won because 3 or 4 errors out there that shouldn't be made, and bad decisions at the plate when batting, and it's like you can't be doing that.
That's the beauty of the game too. I think softball and baseball is no matter how good you are, it has a way of humbling you, and there's always a way to be better.
Yeah, and that's kind of our motto: get better every day, and don't play down to teams that are struggling. You got to go in there with that killer instinct, and all the time.
Talk about looking forward here. I mean, your schedule doesn't get easier. And things are going to heat up, and you're going to have things like injuries and stuff to deal with. Well, I shouldn't have said that. I'll find wood and knock on it. I don't wish that on you at all. But, there's always going to be
edit that one out.
Maybe I will go back and cut that out. But every season has its moments where you really got to fight through something, and as you look ahead, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you got to feel good about your ability to fight through those things.
Yeah, and that's what's good about this team. It's there's no give up. There's no put your head down or continue to dig holes after a few mistakes are made. It's they don't give up. So that's what I love about this team the most is they just don't give up. Even we could be down 2 or 3 runs, and prior years the team may just put their head down and just say, "Oh, we're getting beat again." But these girls are they grab a ladder and climb out of that hole and keep fighting till the end.
Well, that seems to me that's what you got to have. Now, I don't remember where your sectional is. Where's your sectional at?
South Central.
So, oh, that's a tough one.
It is.
Talk about that. I gotta feel. You said they have goals and things. I gotta feel like winning that sectional is one of them.
It is. It definitely is. The last 2 years we've gotten beat by the team that's won the sectional 3-2, and that's brought up a lot at practice and games. And said, "Hey, 3-2,
Yeah.
you got to do better." So it's going to be another tough sectional, and that's one of their main goals is to win a sectional.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you for taking the time. Appreciate that. I know you got other things to do other than talk to old sports guys. So, good luck to you the rest of the season. I'm sure we'll get back in touch and catch up with you guys a little bit further down the road.
Sounds good. I appreciate it.
It's J.V. Obermeyer, the head softball coach at Culver. And it's kind of sad today. One last time, Greg Miller will join me here. Still officially the basketball coach for probably the school year, but Plymouth basketball coach. Man, and thanks for joining us. I just wanted to give you a chance to come on one more time and, say thanks to anybody you want to say thanks to. Let's talk about you first. I mean, I know this happens all the time. Good offer comes along. It's good for your family. I mean, tell us about what you're going to be doing.
Well, it's not anything I sought out. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
They got a hold of me through a search firm that had previously been used when I was in college basketball. And I'm going to work for Globe Life as the main company. They're a $12 billion company. It's based out of Texas, Globe Life Stadium, where the Rangers play.
Yeah.
But I'm going to work for a subsidiary company underneath them, Transparent Financial. And they're not based out of Indiana, but with Indianapolis and how much it's growing in the suburbs there, they want an agency down there within 5 years, and it's going to be my job to get it going and off the ground. So very, very excited for this opportunity for my wife and my family. And my wife's from Noblesville, Carmel, so we'll get to move down closer to her family. And I'll work remote for a year, so I'll be in the community and still be around, but just not coaching.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit too, because that's kind of your background, isn't it? Finance and that, isn't that what you went to school for?
Yeah. So my undergrad is in business administration, and my master's is in business. And all I've ever done is basketball. But there's a lot of, especially in college basketball, there's a lot of finances that you got to deal with and move around. And so I've got to get a couple different licenses, and I'm in licensing courses right now, and I sit for a state exam next week. And so yeah, I mean, like I said, it's going to be completely new, but I mean, the big thing is it's just being in college basketball and then coming here. I've been married for almost 11 years now, and my wife and I, we've lived in 4 states, and we've owned homes in all 4 of those states. And my daughters are getting older, and I want to be a part of their life more than I am at the moment.
Talk about that a little bit too, because I'm a coach's kid, so I understand.
Oh, yeah.
And you're a coach's kid too, I believe. I mean, you know
I
what
am.
that's all about.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I think I've put my family on the back burner probably one too many times, and my wife is unbelievable. She was a college athlete as well. She won a state championship in high school basketball, and so she's been a part of it. And it's just something where I feel like she's had to make several sacrifices over those last 11 years. And before we had kids, she went everywhere with me, recruiting trips and traveling. She got to do all that. Just not able to do that anymore. And, it's time to put my family first. I always say, you can't pour from an empty cup. And sometimes I'm my cup's empty by the time I get home, and that's not fair to them.
Yeah, you talk. It's like I'm listening to my dad talk. I mean, he always felt. The funny thing was, he always hated doing this show when he was coaching.
I bet he did.
Because he had to get up on Saturday morning and leave his kids and spend time away that he felt he should have been staying with them. Now, we didn't mind because he always brought donuts home.
Oh, heck yeah. It's great. Good memory right there.
But, that wears on you after a while, spending time away from your family.
It does. And, my one daughter's 8 months old, and she's starting to, get up a little bit at the stand. And, I missed some of that with my first daughter. I wasn't there when she rolled over. I wasn't there when she took her first steps because I was on the road recruiting. And just some of those memories that, I'm never going to get back. And so this was a chance for me to be there and be more involved and more present.
It's harder in college, isn't it? I mean, high school is one thing, but being on the road in college, I have lived through that too. There's nothing worse on a dad than that.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny because, obviously I've gotten several phone calls from people about this position and should I entertain it? And, I tell all of them, yes, you should. Like the community's unbelievable. The administration has been great to me. And, I'm not leaving on any bad terms. And, there's a Division I coach that called me today, and he's like, dude, I'm exhausted. He's like, I think I want to coach high school basketball. And so he was asking about the job. And yeah, I mean, it is, it's a brutal profession. And, especially at the college level, you're compensated for that, but there's a lot of those things, time's the only resource you don't get more of. And so you're losing out on a lot of time. And, I'm going to try to get some of that time back now.
Talk about your time here. I mean, it was one of those roller coaster rides, I imagine, for you. It just, sometimes really high and sometimes really low.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what the coaching profession is. And, I've been a head coach since I was 24 years old. And I was an assistant for a 1 year stint in there. And when you're an assistant, the wins don't feel as good and the losses don't hurt as much. And so there's been a lot of really fun nights watching film, and there's been a lot of painful nights watching film after games and practice film. And but Plymouth has been great to me. They've been great to my family. Like I said, we'll be here for another year before we have to move. And I'm excited to come back to football games and watch those guys. And I'll come to some basketball games, probably not the home ones, but I'll come to some of the away ones just to still support the guys. I mean, whoever the new coach is, I don't want to step on anybody's toes or infringe there by any means, but I want to see all of these athletic programs, especially basketball. I want to see them be successful.
It's funny that you say that because I would feel the same way if I were in your chair, as the fact that, why wouldn't you come to a home game? So because of what you just said, the new coach, you don't want him feeling like anybody's looking over it. And no matter what, no matter how innocent it is for you, there's still going to be that talk, and you don't want to put that on his back too.
Well, that in the kids, I don't want that for the kids. I mean, we do this profession because of them, and I don't want them, thinking, Coach Miller would have done this or done this, and I never want that to be a thought for them. I want there to be a seamless transition to the next coach, and it's his program, and whoever it is, I'm gonna support them. But no, I look forward to whoever they hire here, and I know that they're going to make a great hire.
I think I know the answer to this question before I even ask it, because I know your heart's with college basketball. But between the two, which I'm assuming college was your favorite.
Say that again. I lost you there for a sec.
I'm assuming college was your favorite.
Yeah, I mean, there's just something about it, and I had two other Division I opportunities that were offered to me this off season, but because of the time commitment, it just wasn't right. And yeah, I really enjoyed my time doing that. I think the thing that I do best in coaching is recruiting and relationships, and being able to go get a kid that maybe people don't think you're able to get and build that relationship with them and bring them in it's something that I really enjoyed.
I got to believe, too, you get the opportunity to build your own team around what you feel you want to be. I mean, you can create a system and then build around that rather than okay, this year we don't have guys that can run and shoot. We're going to have to go to the. I mean, you're changing every year.
Yeah, I mean it's apples to oranges with college and high school. And to be honest with you, I really enjoyed college, but there were aspects of high school that I really enjoyed. I mean, I'll still say that coming here and being a high school coach at Plymouth made me a better teacher of the game, because I had to change things, and I had to change my offensive and defensive philosophy a little bit from what I'd done previously in college, and I had to go back and learn some things and learn how to teach it and teach it at a higher level. So, but at the end of the day, they're completely different, apples to oranges. I enjoyed aspects of both of them very much, and there's aspects that I'm going to miss of both of those as I walk away from it.
Well, you talked about relationships too, and they're completely different. I mean, you're dealing with young men in college.
Correct.
In high school, you're trying to help guys become young men.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's one thing that we saw growth in with our guys in 2 years. And I pray that they continue to develop holistically, academically, athletically, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. And, we're excited to see those guys in a couple of years, whether, I see them down the road in the workforce or in college, whatever it is. And I know they're going to come back to Plymouth and be, great assets to the community.
I'm sure you got some folks that you want to thank, your coaching staff and people like that. I mean, is there anybody in particular you want to single out?
I mean, to be honest, my whole staff, they probably thought I was crazy right away with how I came in and the energy that I bring on a daily basis. And they've been phenomenal. The administration here at Plymouth to take a chance on a college guy and give me the opportunity to, whether I was just a Band-Aid, on a situation before they make the next hire. But I'm very thankful for them and the support that they gave me after, 2 years where I would have loved to seen us have more results. There was never pressure from them because they knew what we were building. So obviously everybody at Lincoln Junior High, Reed Galt, principal here, Becky Walters, my secretary, they're people that I'm going to miss. I'm going to genuinely miss them. And I should probably single out Plotho for making me laugh in moments when I shouldn't. There were plenty of moments there, but yeah, the entire staff, the players, the parents, they've made my time enjoyable.
Don't single out Plotho. He doesn't need any help. He really doesn't.
No, probably not.
And I'm sure your family. I mean, we've mentioned them. I don't think we've mentioned their names, but I mean, like I said, I'm a coach's kid. You're a coach's kid. We both coached it.
Yep.
The family is the one who pays the price for everything. I mean, they hear all the talk and they have to deal with things in it, that you're dealing with as well. And, you can never thank them enough.
No, not at all. And I think the closest thing I can do to thank them is stepping away, honestly. And my wife went to the dentist today and she walks in and the receptionist looks at her and goes, "Well, aren't you the talk of the town?" So she texted me and she's like, "Yeah, I've already had a couple conversations today." So
yeah, be a high school basketball coach in Indiana and find out what that's like. The microscope you live under is amazing. Well, man, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us one more time. Good luck in your future endeavors. You said you're going to be around here for another year. I may try to shame you into spending some time with me and Scurv on the broadcast here over in the course of the next year.
I would love to, as long as it's not a Plymouth game. I'll be good.
we could do that. We could arrange that. But man, once again, thanks for being so open and available to me. I really appreciate that. It makes my job a lot easier. And like I said, good luck to you as you move along.
Yep. Well, I appreciate it, Rusty, and wish you nothing but the best as well.
It's Greg Miller one last time here on the Coaches Show, and we'll be right back. It's time now to announce this week's Tony the Boss Ross Athlete of the Week, given in honor of longtime Marshall County and Max 98.3 broadcaster who died a year ago, long before his time. And we give this award because of his legacy, of his dedication to his craft, his unending work ethic, and especially devotion to the athletes and coaches in the area. It's never going to be matched. It's a legacy we honor each week with this award, and we'll tell you who this week's winner is right after a word from Johnson Danielson.
Johnson Danielson Funeral Home has proudly served the Plymouth community since 1879. Today, our dedicated team continues a tradition of compassionate care supporting families throughout Marshall County. Whether you're planning ahead or honoring a loved one, Johnson Danielson offers a range of personalized options from burial and cremation packages to flexible pre-planning solutions and helpful planning checklists. This is Jamie Beckwith. Our experienced and caring staff are available for you 24 hours a day, ready to guide you every step of the way. Simply call 574-936-2829. To learn more about our services, visit johnson-danielson.com. Johnson Danielson Funeral Home, service beyond the expectation.
And this week's winner is Ivy Stackhouse, senior softball player at Plymouth High School. Had a heck of a week, especially on the mound. Threw a no-hitter against Taylor and then went 3 for 3 with a double and 2 RBIs, 12 strikeouts in that no-hitter and just 1 walk. Lost the game against Mishawaka, but had 11 strikeouts in that one as well, and 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Warsaw got a win, 17 strikeouts in the win against Warsaw this week. Was also 3 for 4 with a pair of RBIs. So Ivy Stackhouse, this week's winner of the Tony the Boss Ross Athlete of the Week. She'll receive a certificate, a history of the award, and a T-shirt commemorating that achievement, and will also be a future guest on this show right here, the Saturday Morning Coaches Show. Ivy will be eligible for our Tony the Boss Ross Max 98.3 Athlete of the Year award. That's coming up just a couple of weeks. We'll make that announcement. Carries with it a plaque and a college scholarship, compliments of Max 98.3 and Johnson Danielson Funeral Home. Tony the Boss Ross Max 98.3 Athlete of the Week is brought to you by Johnson Danielson Funeral Home of Plymouth.